April 1st, 2026, 3:47 a.m. local time. 3 Israeli commercial aircraft sitting on the tarmac at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv just ceased to exist, not damaged, not disabled, obliterated. Within the same 90-second window, Iranian ballistic missiles struck the Dimona nuclear facility, the most secretive installation in the entire Middle East, and a chemical weapons production plant in Beersheba that Israel has never publicly acknowledged exists. This was not a symbolic strike. This was not a message. This was Iran demonstrating that it can reach any target in Israel at any time, with precision that Western intelligence agencies did not believe Iran possessed. And the Israeli government's response: total media blackout. No casualty figures, no damage assessment. Just silence. That silence tells you everything you need to know. Over the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what Iran just hit, why these specific targets matter more than anything else struck in this entire war, and what the radioactive and chemical contamination risk means for millions of Israeli civilians right now. Because mainstream media is showing you footage of interceptions in the sky and calling it a successful defense, they're not telling you that 3 jets worth $400 million combined are now scrap metal. They're not telling you that missiles landed within the Dimona restricted zone. And they're absolutely not telling you that a chemical facility capable of producing nerve agents just took a direct ballistic missile hit. Let's get into it. Here's what we know happened in the 90 seconds that changed this war. At approximately 3:47 a.m. Israel time, air raid sirens activated across central Israel. Within 11 seconds, the first impact was confirmed at Ben Gurion International Airport. Eyewitness accounts from airport personnel described 3 distinct explosions in the civilian aircraft parking area. Israeli media, operating under military censorship, initially reported only that the airport was temporarily closed due to security concerns. It took 6 hours for the first images to leak online. What those images show is catastrophic. 3 aircraft, identified by aviation tracking enthusiasts as 2 Boeing 737s operated by El Al and 1 Airbus A321 operated by Israir, are completely destroyed. Not damaged, destroyed. The fuselages are collapsed, the wings are sheared off. Debris is scattered across a 200-meter radius. Each of those aircraft cost between $80 million and $150 million. That's $400 million in civilian aviation infrastructure eliminated in a single strike. But the economic loss is not the story. The story is what this proves about Iranian missile accuracy. Ben Gurion Airport is one of the most defended pieces of airspace on planet Earth. It sits less than 20 kilometers from Tel Aviv. It is covered by multiple overlapping layers of Israeli air defense: Arrow 3 for high-altitude interception, David's Sling for medium-range threats, Iron Dome for short-range protection. And yet, Iranian missiles not only reach the airport, they hit specific aircraft on the tarmac. This is not area bombardment. This is precision targeting. The missiles that hit Ben Gurion were reportedly K-bar Shekin variants, solid-fuel medium-range ballistic missiles with terminal guidance capability. These missiles do not follow a fixed ballistic trajectory. They maneuver during descent. They adjust their path based on real-time satellite data. And according to Iranian military sources, they can hit targets with a circular error probability of less than 10 meters. That means the missile lands within 10 meters of the exact coordinates it was programmed to strike. The aircraft at Ben Gurion were not collateral damage. They were the target. While Israeli emergency crews were still responding to the airport strike, the second wave hit. This time, the target was 85 kilometers south. Dimona. If you don't know what Dimona is, you need to understand this facility to understand why this strike is apocalyptic. Dimona is Israel's nuclear weapons production complex. It is where Israel has manufactured an estimated 90 to 400 nuclear warheads over the past 60 years. The facility includes nuclear reactors, plutonium separation plants, and weapons assembly infrastructure. Israel has never officially confirmed that Dimona produces nuclear weapons, but every intelligence agency on Earth knows what happens there. The facility is built partially underground to protect it from airstrikes. It is surrounded by restricted airspace that Israeli fighter jets patrol 24 hours a day. It has dedicated anti-aircraft batteries positioned in overlapping rings around the complex. Satellites cannot photograph certain sections of the site because Israel jams imaging systems when they pass overhead. And Iran just hit it. Iranian state media, specifically IRGC-affiliated channels, released a statement claiming that ballistic missiles struck what they called the Zionist regime's nuclear weapons facility in the Negev desert. They did not use the name Dimona. They used a phrase that translates to Nuke Town, a deliberate reference to American nuclear test sites from the 1950s, where entire fake towns were built and then vaporized to study blast effects. Israeli authorities have not confirmed or denied the strike. They have not released damage assessments. They have not acknowledged that anything happened at Dimona at all. But satellite monitoring services that track radiation levels in the region reported a brief spike in gamma radiation readings approximately 14 minutes after the reported impact time. That spike lasted less than 3 minutes before returning to baseline. What does that mean? It could mean nothing. Radiation monitoring equipment can produce false positives. Or it could mean that a missile impact near a nuclear facility caused a momentary release of radioactive material that was quickly contained. We don't know. And the fact that we don't know is the most terrifying part of this story. Let me explain why hitting Dimona is different from hitting any other target in Israel. If a conventional military base gets hit, you rebuild it. If an airport gets hit, you repair the runway. If a nuclear facility gets hit, you have a potential radiological disaster that could contaminate hundreds of square kilometers for decades. Dimona is not just a building. It is a complex that houses reactors, spent fuel storage, and weapons-grade material processing. A direct hit on certain sections of that facility could release plutonium dust into the atmosphere. Plutonium is one of the most toxic substances known to human beings. A single gram of inhaled plutonium dust can cause lung cancer. A kilogram dispersed over a city could contaminate the entire urban area. We are not talking about a nuclear explosion. We are talking about a dirty bomb scenario where radioactive material gets spread by conventional explosives and wind patterns. The third target hit during this 90-second window was a chemical production facility in Beersheba, approximately 35 kilometers west of Dimona. Israeli media has not reported this strike at all. The only confirmation comes from Iranian sources and from local residents who posted videos of emergency response vehicles surrounding an industrial complex on the outskirts of the city. The facility in question is operated by a company that officially produces agricultural chemicals and industrial solvents. Unofficially, according to multiple investigative reports published over the past decade, this facility has been linked to chemical weapons research. Specifically, the production of precursor chemicals that can be used to manufacture nerve agents. Israel is not a signatory to the Chemical Weapons Convention. Israel has never confirmed or denied possessing chemical weapons, but the facility exists. It operates under heavy security, and Iran just hit it with a ballistic missile. Why does this matter? Because if that facility was storing or producing chemical agents and a missile ruptured storage tanks or reaction chambers, you could have a chemical release that poisons everything downwind. Nerve agents like sarin or VX are incredibly lethal. A single drop of VX absorbed through skin can kill a human being in minutes. A ton of sarin released into the air over a city could kill tens of thousands of people within hours. Iranian targeting of this facility is either a terrifying coincidence or a deliberate message. The message being, we know where your secret programs are, we can hit them, and if this war continues, we will hit them in ways that cause contamination you cannot clean up. Now let's talk about the missile systems Iran used in this operation, because understanding the weapons explains why Israeli defenses failed. The IRGC has confirmed deploying K-Bar-Shekin-2 missiles, Fatah-1 hypersonic missiles, and AMAD variants in this strike package. The K-Bar-Shekin-2 is a solid-fuel medium-range ballistic missile with a range of approximately 1,650 kilometers. It carries a 650-kilogram warhead and uses terminal guidance to adjust its trajectory during descent. Launch preparation time is under 10 minutes. The missile can be fired from a mobile launcher disguised as a commercial truck, which makes pre-launch detection almost impossible. The Fatah-1 is Iran's first operational hypersonic missile. It was unveiled in June 2023 and has a reported speed of Mach 13 to 15 during its terminal phase. At that speed, the missile covers 5 kilometers per second. Israeli air defense systems have approximately 7 to 12 seconds to detect, track, and engage a hypersonic target traveling at those speeds. That is not enough time. The economic cost of this single strike is already measurable. 3 destroyed aircraft, $400 million. Airport closure, disrupting international flights, estimated $50 million per day in lost revenue and economic activity. Potential contamination at Dimona, requiring evacuation and decontamination, incalculable. Potential chemical release at Beersheba, requiring quarantine and medical treatment, incalculable. And we haven't even started calculating the cost of interceptors. Each Arrow 3 interceptor costs approximately $2 to $3 million. Each David Sling interceptor costs $1 million. If Israel fired 20 interceptors attempting to stop this strike package, that's $40 to $60 million spent on defense in 90 seconds. And the missile still got through. Here's the broader context that makes this strike a turning point. This war started on February 28th, when the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury, killing Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and striking hundreds of targets across Iran. Iran's response has been 29 waves of missile and drone attacks over 10 days, over 600 ballistic missiles launched, over 2,000 drones deployed. And now, for the first time, Iran has struck targets that carry existential risk. Not symbolic targets, not military bases that can be rebuilt, but a nuclear facility and a chemical plant. If those facilities were damaged in ways that cause radioactive or chemical contamination, you are looking at Israeli cities becoming uninhabitable, not destroyed. Uninhabitable. That is a different category of threat. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has not made a public statement about the Dimona strike. The Israeli Defense Forces have not released any information about casualties or damage. Israeli media, operating under military censorship, are not reporting details. That silence is itself a signal. If the strike had missed, if the damage was minimal, if there was no contamination risk, Israeli authorities would say so. The fact that they are saying nothing suggests the situation is worse than they want to admit. Meanwhile, oil prices have surged to $118 per barrel. The Strait of Hormuz remains effectively closed to Western shipping. Qatar has declared force majeure on all LNG exports. Kuwait has stopped producing oil entirely. The global economy is absorbing a shock that is compounding daily. And here's the question nobody in Washington or Jerusalem wants to answer. If Iran can hit Dimona and Beersheba with precision missiles, what stops them from hitting those same targets again with larger warheads? What stops them from deliberately targeting the reactors or the chemical storage tanks in a way designed to cause maximum contamination? The answer is nothing. Nothing stops them except the decision not to do it. And that decision is being made by a government that just watched its supreme leader get assassinated, its cities bombed, and its infrastructure systematically destroyed. The incentive structure for restraint is collapsing. Iran has now demonstrated the capability to turn Israeli nuclear and chemical sites into radiological and chemical disaster zones. The question is whether they choose to exercise that capability in the next wave, or the wave after that, or the wave after that. Share this video with everyone you know, because what happened on April 1st is not being reported accurately anywhere in mainstream media. 3 jets destroyed at Israel's main airport, missiles striking the Dimona nuclear complex, a chemical facility in Beersheba hit by ballistic weapons, radiation spikes detected by monitoring equipment, total media blackout from Israeli authorities, and a war that has now crossed into the territory where contamination, not destruction, becomes the strategic threat. This is not a regional conflict anymore. This is a war where mistakes or deliberate escalation could render entire cities uninhabitable for generations. Thanks for watching.